We all have to start somewhere. Every filmmaker, writer, musician, or artist who eventually masters their craft starts out as a beginner trying to figure things out as they go. And Christopher Nolan is no different. With The Odyssey coming out this year, I couldn't help but think about all the incredible films he's brought us over the years: Oppenheimer, Tenet, Dunkirk, Interstellar, The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, The Prestige, Insomnia, Memento, and of course his first film, Following. It's not just Nolan's first film, it's the first step, if you think about it, to the road that will eventually lead us to the Odyssey. So I decided to start a mini-series called Road to the Odyssey, where I'll be revisiting Nolan's filmography from the beginning, appreciating the films that got him here, and looking for the pieces of Nolan DNA that were present from the very start. So let's dive right into it. Following is a 1998 British independent neo-noir crime thriller and Nolan's feature directorial debut. Now, Nolan wrote, produced, directed, photographed, and edited the film himself. The story follows a young writer who spends his days following strangers through the streets of London, becoming entangled in a criminal underworld. The film also marks one of Nolan's earliest uses of non-linear storytelling, a technique that would become one of his trademarks. And I think one of the most inspiring things about Following and how it was made was that Nolan and his friends shot the film on weekends while working around everyone's schedules over the course of a year. They had almost no money, limited locations, and a very small cast. Nolan has said that some of the locations were their very own apartments. Watching it today is a reminder that great filmmakers don't start with massive budgets. They start by making the most with what they have. And you can feel Nolan learning and experimenting in real time throughout the film. The film was inspired in part by Nolan's experience living in London and having his apartment broken into. Rather than focusing on what was stolen, Nolan became fascinated by the idea of strangers entering someone's personal space. The film explores how much of a person's identity can be discovered through their belongings. One thing that really stood out to me while watching the film was how much the protagonist, Bill, felt like a reflection of Nolan himself. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but Bill starts the film as a young writer drifting through life, observing people from a distance and searching for something meaningful. To keep his hobby from becoming obsessive, Bill has a set of strict rules, and he breaks one of these rules when he follows a charismatic burglar named Cobb. Now, Cobb takes Bill under his wing, introducing him to the thrill of breaking into homes and looting personal items to learn about the owners. And at one point in the film, they re-encounter one of the people's houses they broke into, and Bill is freaking out. Cobb tells him, maybe you need a new haircut, new set of clothes. Your mother won't recognize you. Just because you break into people's homes doesn't mean you have to look like a fucking burglar. And from that point on, Bill begins transforming into someone else entirely. Watching it today, I couldn't help but see that transformation as symbolic of Nolan's own growth as an artist. Not literally, but metaphorically. It feels like watching a young filmmaker finding his voice and becoming the person he wants to be. And Christopher Nolan, as we all know, loves to wear suits. So I don't think it's a far stretch to think that Bill and Nolan were very similar at that time during the filming of the movie. At one point in the film, they break into Bill's apartment, and I noticed that there was a small sticker on the door, and we all know it's the Batman sticker. It's probably just a coincidence, but knowing Nolan's future, it's impossible not to smile when you see it. I honestly think he was manifesting this somehow. So yeah, and with that, that's really what the series is going to be all about, going back to the beginning and looking for the seeds of what would come later. Not just seeing where a director started, but seeing the ideas that would define them. So yeah, Following may not be Nolan's biggest film, or even his best, but it might be one of his most interesting because you can already see the foundations of his future career being laid and leading to the Odyssey. So I suggest go check it out, go watch Following, see if you can already see the filmmaker Nolan would become. I definitely can. And with that, next up on the road to the Odyssey, Memento.